Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Daf, and it's Masechet Tractate Menachos Daf 33 Amud B. Rav Huna, son of Rav Nathan, said, actually Shmuel's ruling is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. And what's the meaning of the phrase at the beginning of the upper third of the entrance that Shmuel says? It is referring to the maximum distancing from the door frame, i.e. the one should not distance it from the upper cross beam more than 1/3 of the height of the entrance. Rather said, it is a mitzvah to place the mezuzah in the handbreadth adjacent to the public domain. One places the mezuzah in the space of the doorway, in the handbreadth adjacent to the outside. This requirement is not indispensable. Halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Rava. Sefer Hava Hilchot Tefillin Mezuzah v'Sefer Torah 612 Shulchan Aruch Yodeya 285-2 289-2. And what asks, what was the reason for this? The rabbis say that it is in order that one encounters the mezuzah immediately upon one's entrance to the house. Rav Hanina ben Sur says it is in order that the mezuzah protect. Ki heichi the sintare. That is, so the mezuzah will protect one from harmful spirits, says Rashi, by ensuring that the entire house is within the area protected by the mezuzah. On Torah Yodeya 285. Some commentaries maintain that the mezuzah does not protect one from the harmful spirits. Rather, its protection lies in the fact that it reminds one of the unity of God, the requirement of Him, which protects one from sin. That's the Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchot Tefillin Mezuzah Sefer Torah 5-4 613. I've lost the footnote. House by placing it as far outside as one can. The Gemara adds, and Menachos says, "Come and see that the attribute of flesh and blood is not like the attribute of the Holy One, blessed be He. The attribute of flesh and blood is that a king sits inside his palace, and He protects him from the outside. Whereas with regard to the attribute of the Holy One, blessed be He, is not so. Rather, His servants, Jewish people, sit inside their homes, and He protects them from outside. As is stated, the Lord is your keeper, and the Lord is your shade upon your right hand." And that's from Psalms 121:5. This is relevant to the mezuzah, which is found on the right side of the entrance. Rashi, see Shai the Rav Achigon 145. Rav Yosef, son of Rava, taught in the name of Rava. If one dug 1 handbreadth deep into the doorpost, if one dug 1 handbreadth deep into the wall and placed mezuzah there, it is unfit, as maintained by Rava. Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchot Tefillin Mezuzah v'Sefer Torah 5-8 Shulchan Aruch Yodeya 289-4. The placement of there, it is unfit. The Gemara suggests, let us say that the following brighter supports his ruling in the case where one affixed a mezuzah deep in the wooden doorpost of an entrance, and after placing it, the entrance added 1 tala. The verb tala is typically used by the sages in reference to the stitching of patches, talai on clothes and the like. This is possibly also the meaning of talu in the verse, every speckled and talu sheep, Genesis 30:32, i.e. a sheep that appears to have patches. It bears a similar meaning here, as one places a kind of patch to an entrance that is not properly formed. It's also possible that the letter tet appears instead of the letter tav in tala. Tala spelled with a tav has a virtually identical pronunciation and means to hang. And in a frame, a malbin. What's that? A malbin is a framework. The term malbin appears in the Bible in reference to a mold for fashioning bricks. Draw your water for the siege. Strengthen your fortresses. Go into the clay and tread the mortar and lay hold of the brick mold and malbin. Nahum 3:14 in the rabbinic usage. It appears in reference to a square framework, e.g. the malbin of a chair, or even for square pieces of earth. Here, as in many places, malbin means the inner framework of a window or entrance, generally made of wood, to it that covers the doorpost. If there is a depth of 1 handbreadth there, one requires another mezuzah, but if not, one does not require another mezuzah. The Gemara deflects the support. When that brayta is taught, it is referring to an entrance that is behind the door. So what does that mean? And there's a diagram here. If you have the Steinsaltz, page 208, it's basically got a box the west side, south side, and sort of in the southwest corner, the corner is open, and it has a doorpost, and it has a mezuzah. The location of the mezuzah, so it's kind of where the doorpost is, facing eastward, I suppose. Does that make sense? Yeah, east. The mezuzah here is facing west location, and that's Rashi, so you're facing east, the right side of the southern entrance, whereas the location, according to Mordechai, is west. There's another entrance on the other side of the framework, which says for both entrances. Bryce is teaching that if the framework is 100 thick, then each side is considered a separate entrance, and each requires its own mezuzah. The more raised the difficulty, but the same Bryce teaches explicitly this ruling of the case of another entrance with regard to an entrance that's behind the door. If there is a depth of 100th, one requires another mezuzah, but if not, one does not require another mezuzah. The Gemara explains. This clause of the Bryce is teaching which case is the subject of the previous clause. I.e., the Bryce does not state two halachot, but only one, which is it explains us as it proceeds. In what case is it taught that if there is a depth of 100 there, one requires another mezuzah? It is taught in the case of an entrance that is behind the door. It is taught in a Bryce with regard to the affixing of a mezuzah. If one positions a mezuzah in an entrance which was a framework of reeds, to which one cannot affix a mezuzah with nails, he carves a kind of tube from the reed on the right side and places the mezuzah in that tube. Ahaz, son of Rava, says they taught that one may affix the mezuzah in this manner only in a case where one position a framework in its place first, and ultimately carve the tube and then place the mezuzah in it. But if before positioning the framework, one carved the tube and placed the mezuzah in it, and ultimately position the framework, if one carved a reed and inserted the mezuzah into it, and then attached that reed to the other reed and from the doorpost with him, the mezuzah is unfit, because the affixing of mezuzah was performed before the post was established as the doorpost of the entrance. That's the Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchot Tefillah Mezuzah V'Sefer Torah 5.8 Shulchan Aruch Yodeya 289.5. Mezuzah is unfit. This is in accordance with the principle stated with regard to objects used for mitzvot. Prepare it, and not from that which has already been prepared. What does that mean? Tasavalo min ha'asu. The term prepared does not mean in the verse with regard to a mezuzah. Rather, this principle is derived from the halacha of Sukkah, which the state you should prepare the feast of Sukkot. Deuteronomy 16:13. The sages interpreted this as teaching that one must prepare the mitzvah and not perform it using that which has already been prepared, as is similarly derived with regard to a lulav. See Sukkah 11b. Some commentators maintain that in the case of a mezuzah, the halacha applies by rabbinic law, Sefer Kiryat Sefer. In this case, he affixed the mezuzah before the obligation took effect with regard to the framework. And Rava says, with regard to these broken entrances, Pethish Shemai. What does that mean? Pethish Shemai. Rashi explains that the gates are broken, similar to the term Ashmai, meaning crooked. Elsewhere, he associates Shemai with Shemama, desolation. The Aruch cites Rabbeinu Hanani's interpretation that it means entrances of Eretz Yisrael. Rabbeinu Hanani's statement is based on the Arabic Al-Sham, which is a traditional name for Syria and Eretz Yisrael, which lack the proper form of doorways. One is exempt from the obligation of placing a mezuzah. The Gemara asks, what are broken entrances? Rav, in Hebrew, Vichumi and Abba Yossi disagree with regard to this. One says that they do not have a proper ceiling. What does that mean? A house that does not have a ceiling is exempt from a mezuzah. In a case where it is partly covered with a ceiling and partly uncovered, if the ceiling is over the entrance and measures at least 4 by 4 cubits, one is obligated to fix a mezuzah to that entrance. That's in the Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchot Tefillah Mezuzah V'Sefer Torah 6.5 Shulchan Aruch Yodeya 286.14. And one says that they do not have lintels, Shakofai, In its first explanation, Rashi states that a case where there is no tikra refers to a case where there is no upper lintel to the door frame. Alternatively, it means that the lintel is not constructed in a straight manner over the door, as the stones are uneven Tosfot. According to this opinion, Tem Shakofe is a reference to doorposts, not lintels, and it is stating that the doorposts are not straight, as the stones are uneven. 11a. According to Rashi's second explanation, a case where there is no tikra refers to a house that does not have a ceiling at all. An entrance that does not have a lintel and doorpost is exempt. Obviously, a house that does not have a ceiling is exempt from mezuzah. This is covered, partly covered with the ceiling and partly uncovered. One of the openings, Rabbi Bashila says that Rav Chisda says, with regard to a portico, and there's a picture of a portico of a building in Dubs, France, portico of the school of Rav according to Rashi, and a Roman portico according to Rashi. So different pictures here on page 239 of the Steinsaltz. A structure at the entrance to a house that is entirely open on its front side. One is exempt from the obligation of placing mezuzah because it does not have doorposts. Patsim. The meaning of the word patsim or patzin is a post or board. It is generally used in reference to doorposts of entrances. The root is probably pei sadi mem, which means breaking or cleaving. See the verse, you have made the land to shake, you have cleft it. Petsamta, heal its branches for its totters. Psalms 60:40. Accordingly, patzim refers to boards or pieces of wood. A structure at the entrance to a house that is entirely open on its front side. One is exempt from the obligation of placing a mezuzah because it does not have doorposts. Petzimin. Oh, I missed out a point for portico. Some suggest this term is derived from the Greek spell ladion, meaning cave-like or curved. Others suggest it is derived from the word persalidos, originating from psalis, meaning a vault, on its sides. The Gemara questions the treatment. This indicates that if it has doorposts, one will be obligated to place mezuzah, but that is not logical, as the doorposts are not there to serve as an entrance, rather they are made to strengthen the ceiling. In that case, why should one be obligated? The Gemara answers, this is what Rav Chisda is saying. Even if it has doorposts, one is exempt from the obligation to place mezuzah there because they are made only to strengthen the ceiling, not as an entrance. Similarly, Abai said, I saw the porticos, lispilide, for the house of the master Rabbah. They had doorposts, but they did not have mezuzah. Rabbah evidently holds that its doorposts are made to strengthen the ceiling. The Gemara raises an objection from a Braita. With regard to a gatehouse, what's a gatehouse? A gatehouse is a small structure built at the gate of a courtyard to prevent people from entering directly into the courtyard. It's generally small and open at the front, as the gate of the courtyard serves as its back wall. If the courtyard is guarded, the guard may sit in the gatehouse. And there's a picture of a gatehouse at the entrance of an ancient palace in Amman, Jordan. A portico and a balcony. Beisha, Hachsadra, Umir Peses. A gatehouse, a portico, a balcony, a garden, and a stable are exempt from the obligation of mezuzah because they do not serve as a residence. If these open directly into a house, a mezuzah is required into the roof from the Rambam the Torah, then the Ben Yitzchak says that a gatehouse requires a mezuzah even if it does not lead directly to a house, but this requirement applies by rabbinic law. That's from the Rambam Sefer Hava Hechad, from the mezuzah of Sefer Torah 6:7, and Och Yodeh Torah 8:6-7. One's obligated to place mezuzah. The Gemara answers, the halacha of the Braita is stated with regard to a specific type of portico, the portico or study hall. Achsadra the Veirav. With regard to a portico which is a place with 3 walls and a ceiling, even if it has 2 doorposts on its 4 sides, is exempt from the obligation to fix a mezuzah. The reason is that its doorposts are there to support the ceiling, not to serve as actual doorposts for the entrance. Even as a partition on the 4 side, even a low one, or it consists entirely of windows, one's obligated to place mezuzah there, and that's the Rambam Sefer Hava Hilchot to fill in mezuzah Sefer Torah 6.3 Shulchan Aruch Yodea 86.6, which is closed on all sides, but its walls do not reach the ceiling. The Gemara raises a difficulty. A portico of a study hall is like a full-fledged room in the Rona. What's that? Apparently the Greek andron, meaning a house for men or a parlor in the house. The Romans use it in reference to a corridor, a room which joins 2 houses or courtyards, and therefore it should not be labelled a portico with regard to the halacha of mezuzah. The Gemara answers, the halacha of a bait is stated with regard to a Roman portico. What's a Roman portico? There are several explanations with regard to the structure of these buildings. Rashi here states that the portico of a study hall has walls, but they are low and do not reach the ceiling, whereas a Roman portico is one whose walls were made entirely of windows. In Torah above about 11b, he explains that in the opposite manner. Most commentators maintain that the portico of a study hall has very wide doorposts and similar to a house, while a Roman portico has 3 walls and 2 posts, about a cubit in width on the 4 sides from the Aruch. Others state that the portico of a study hall is not open at all, but is like a narrow corridor, and that's in Sefer HaEshkol, citing Rav Shiria Gon. The Rid claims that the Roman portico consists entirely of entrances, each of which requires a mezuzah, which is more open than the portico of a study hall, as it is built with many windows instead of proper walls. The Bright is teaching that one is obligated to place mezuzah on this type of portico. Rahava says that Rav Yehuda says, with regard to a Bei Chaziki, okay, what's that? So Rashi says you have the public domain, and then beyond that you have a courtyard surrounded by 4 walls, and beyond that you have a gatehouse in the middle and 2 houses on either side. The base has Haziki, according to the Ramban and the Ran, has a different arrangement, a public domain, and then in one enclosed area you have the house on the left, gatehouse in the center, and the courtyard around the gatehouse connected to the house on its right side. One is obligated to place 2 mezuzah. Now I had another point about the Besa Hazikiri, I think. Probably from the Middle Persian, meaning prison or punishment. This term is found in Arabic and Mandaic, and it means jailhouse. It can have the same meaning in the Talmud. Maybe perhaps that it's surrounded by 4 walls. Just a guess. One is obligated to place 2 mezuzot. The glass. What is a ben haziki? Rav Papa the elder said the name of Rav. It is a gatehouse that opens to a courtyard, and houses also open directly to the gatehouse. A gatehouse that opens to a house and a courtyard requires 2 mezuzot, in addition to the entrance through which one comes from the public domain to the shach based on the Torah. One of these 2 mezuzot is placed where it opens to the house, and the other is placed where it opens to the courtyard. And that's from the Shulchan Aruch Yodea 286.8. It requires 2 mezuzot, one for the entrance from the courtyard to the gatehouse, and one from the entrance, and one for the entrance from the gatehouse to the houses. The sages taught in a Braisa with regard to a gatehouse that has 2 entrances, as it opens both to a garden, which exempts from a mezuzah, and to a small room, uleketonit, ketonis, a small room from the Greek koton, meaning a bedroom. The sages use it in reference to other small rooms as well. The halacha of a garden differs from that of a courtyard, which was dealt with by the Gemara in the case of Ben Haziki. The courtyard serves residential purposes, as the inhabitants of the house use it for certain household functions, such as washing clothes, and therefore one's obligated to fix the mezuzah there. Conversely, and just a spider crawling up me, a garden is used for planting vegetation for ornamental purposes. Still there, for ornamental purposes. Oh, that's my train of thought. A courtyard serves the purpose that the inhabitants of the house use it for certain household functions, such as washing clothes, and therefore one is obligated to affix a mezuzah there. Conversely, a garden is used for planting vegetation or for ornamental purposes, and for that reason one is exempt from affixing a mezuzah there. Rabbi Yossi says, its halacha stated is like that of a small room, and it requires a mezuzah, and the rabbis say, it's halacha stated like that of a gatehouse, and does not require mezuzah. The difference of opinion among the Amoraim with regard to this dispute. Rav and Shmuel both say, with regard to an entrance through which one enters from the garden to the house, i.e. the entrance from the gatehouse to the small room, everyone agrees that one is obligated to place a mezuzah. What is the reason? It is the way of entering the house, and the house requires a mezuzah. Rav and Shmuel continue. When they disagree, it is with regard to the entrance through which one enters from the house to the garden, i.e. the entrance from the gatehouse to the garden. One stage, Rabbi Yossi holds that the small room into which the gatehouse opens is the main area, and therefore the gatehouse, which is used for entering the small room, is considered like a regular gatehouse to the house, and all its entrances require mezuzah. And one stage, the rabbis hold that the garden is the main area, and therefore this entrance does not require mezuzah. Conversely, Rabba and Rav Yosef both say, with regard to the entrance to which one enters the house and the house to the garden, i.e. the entrance between the gatehouse and the garden, one agrees that one is exempt from placing mezuzah. What is the reason? It is the entrance to the garden, and the garden does not require mezuzah. When they disagree with regard to the entrance from the garden to the house, i.e. the entrance between the gatehouse and the small room, one stage Rabbi Yossi holds that it's the way of entering the house, and the house requires mezuzah, and one stage the rabbis hold the entire area for the purpose of reaching the garden, not for entering the house, and therefore, even with regard to the entrance between the gatehouse and the small room, was exempt from placing mezuzah at the entrance of the small room. We went into the next daf just to finish that off. We went for listening, and all the best. Bye.